If you're watching this video, that means that you're looking for CDL general knowledge questions and answers, and that's what we're going to be giving you today. My name is Jonathan, and I'm the founder of Driving Academy, the best truck driving school in the entire country. And in this video, we're actually going to be giving you true questions and true answers that are going to show up on any general knowledge test that you're going to take, no matter what part of the country that you're in. We help thousands of students every single year get their CDL license by getting them past all the written exams, plus get them past that 2.5 hour long road test. Now this video is going to be a little bit different than those other videos out there because I'm not a robot and I'm an actual person. So let's get into the questions and answers that you're going to need to know in order to pass your general knowledge test. That being said, what I'm going to do is I'm not just going to give you questions and answers and hopefully that you memorize it. I'm going to give you some knowledge behind why the answer is what it is. So even if DMV goes in there and switches one of the questions or one of the words in that question, you're still able to pass this test with no problems, right? The problem when people have taking this general knowledge test is they go in memorizing just specific questions, which means specific answers are tied to that. But the problem is DMV can switch one word and everything's different. So it's time to actually teach you the proper way to think about this stuff, give you the real knowledge, and this is going to be a sample of what you'd get if you become an actual student here at Driving Academy. And like I said, we're the best in the country, so let's give you the best answers and questions for the CDL General Knowledge exam. So let's go one more time. The first question that we're going to be talking about in the CDL General Knowledge is going to be this question here. When traveling down a downgrade, you should do what? A. Shift gears when necessary. B. Never shift gears. C. Use engine retarders only if necessary. Or D. A and C. Well, a lot of people are probably going to pick D, but the real answer here is going to be never shift gears. So when you're actually traveling down a downgrade, that means your whole vehicle is actually going downhill, right? And if you're in a manual transmission vehicle, the way it should work is as you're traveling uphill, you want to make sure that you're in the proper safe speed. So say you're traveling uphill in about 8th gear. The rules are by the time you go downhill, you want to make sure that you go to 1 gear lower than the gear you climbed up, which means that you're going to be in 7th gear on the way down. This is going to prevent any kind of downgrading or any kind of shifting necessary because you're going to be at a safe speed and your engine's going to keep you at that speed and you don't have to wear out your brakes. If you do this correctly, then you're going to avoid a lot of mistakes and a potential big fine and a big accident itself. So the answer to this question is B, never shift your gears when going down a long downgrade. Because all you have to do is mess up one time and not get into gear. All of a sudden now you're traveling in neutral and good luck trying to stop an 80,000 pound vehicle going down a downgrade that can take miles and miles on it, right? That's something called a Mexican overdrive. I don't know how it got the name, but pretty much that's where you're just pretty much just going and you're gonna put your head between your legs and you're gonna kiss you know what goodbye, because it's very little and very hard for you to control. So the question here is going to be B, never shift gears. All right, next question. When going down long or steep downgrades, you should always, so similar question asked a different way, and the answers that we have is use only your trailer brakes. That's A. B is going to be use the parking effects of the engine. B is going to be using the braking effects of the engine. C, use controlled braking. Or D, when you exceed safe speed by 5 miles per hour, then brake. So when going down a long, steep downgrade, the correct answer here again is B. Use the braking effects of the engine. Now, let's kind of explain this one a little bit more. So when it comes to A, use your trailer brakes, that's a complete no. Anytime you hear the word trailer brakes and that's all you're going to use, that's a problem. Never hit that answer because you never want to use just your trailer brakes. If you do, it's going to lock up your back trailer tires and it's going to cause you a jackknife. If you don't know what a jackknife looks like, it's going to look like this right over here. So say that this is your tractor, right? And your trailer should look right behind you. If for whatever reason you turn into a jackknife, that means that your tractor's here and your trailer looks something like this. Now this is an extreme jackknife. That means that these tires have locked up and all of a sudden they want to start going to the front. And you never want to see your trailer tires on the driver's side of your vehicle itself, right? So that is definitely going to be a reason never to use your trailer brakes. Now, when it comes to using controlled braking means you're always constantly squeezing on the brakes. If you do that for a long steep downgrade, you're going to be wearing out your brakes, and by the time you get down to the bottom of the hill, you're done, right? And then D, when you exceed safe speed limit by 5 miles an hour, then brake. That's only a portion of what actually should have been there, but because it did not give the full thing, which is, okay, make sure you reduce the speed above 5 miles an hour, and then brake, it's supposed to be below the safe speed of 5 miles an hour. So it's once you get to the safe speed, then you're gonna hit the brake till you get 5 miles an hour below the safe speed, and then you go back and forth right from there. But simply because it said above, when you exceed the safe speed by 5 miles an hour, then that means it's the wrong answer, which means the only true answer is going to be using the braking effects of the engine so you can save the brakes of your vehicle itself, because like we talked about in the past one, if you use up your brakes and you can't get into gear, then you're truly you know what. All right, so let's get into the next one. You're driving a 40-foot long vehicle at 25 miles per hour. The proper safe following distance is blank. So it's going to be either A, 3 seconds, C, or B. It's either going to be A, 3 seconds, B, 2 seconds, C, 4 seconds, or D, 5 seconds. So the correct answer here is going to be 4 seconds. So let's talk about why it's 4 seconds. There's actually a formula that you'll learn, and when you become a student here, we'll actually teach you the formula over and over and over again, but it's pretty much this. Here we have a 40-foot vehicle, right? 40 foot long, and we are going, it says 25 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour. Now, when they ask you this test on the question, when they ask you this question on the test itself, that means that they can change the actual size of the vehicle, they can change the speed, so you have to understand what the formula actually is. So this is what I was telling you about, actually knowing the knowledge before just memorizing the question and answer. Because say, for instance, they'll tell you, okay, 50-foot vehicle going 50 miles an hour. What do you do then? So this is how the formula works. For every 10 feet of your vehicle, it's going to equal 1 second. If you're going to go greater than, that's what this sign looks like. Oh, sorry, that's less than. Greater than is going to be, if you're going greater than 50 miles per hour, then you're going to add 1 second. So in this case, the vehicle is 40 feet long. So because for every 10 feet, we're going to add 1 second, and the vehicle is going less than 50 miles per hour, that means we're only going to be doing 4 seconds. If you have that information, now let me ask you another one. Say we have a 70-foot vehicle going 60 miles per hour. How many seconds of following distance do you need then, knowing the formula? So if you were studying and paying attention, it's going to be 1 second for every 10 feet. So this is 70 feet, right? That means it's going to be 7 seconds here. Are we going faster or slower than 50 miles an hour? We're going faster, which means we have to add 1 second here. And let's see if you guys can do math. Can you guys add 7 plus 1? If you can, boom, that equals 8. And if you can do that math, you can be a truck driver. That's pretty simple. So that is why that answer is what it is. Let's move this to the next one. Okay, the next question. When loading a trailer, if the load is loaded all to the rear, it may result in what? A, wheel lockup. B, damage to steering axle. C, poor traction on drive wheels. Or D, none of the above. The answer here is going to be C, poor traction on drive tires. So if we were to imagine that this is the trailer, and all of a sudden this is the front of the trailer, this is the back of the trailer. If we load everything on this back of the trailer and all this weight is here, what's happening to the front? It's going up, right? So because all the weight's here, it's pushing the front of the trailer up, which is where the drive tires are for the tractor. That means that that's coming up, which means that the tractor tires have less traction on the ground because they're not touching the ground as much, and that's why you're going to have less traction on drive tires, and that's why that's that answer. All right, next one is going to be The next question, turn signals should be used when? A, at least 100 feet before turning or changing lanes. B, at least 150 feet before turning or changing lanes. C, at least 200 feet before turning or changing lanes. Or D, at least 500 feet before turning or changing lanes. The answer to this question is going to be A, at least 100 feet. Now, why is it 100 feet? Because somebody decided that it's going to be 100 feet. That's just a law. You got to memorize it. 100 feet before turning or changing lanes, you must put on your turn signal. Very simple, very cool. The next question. Communication means what? Talking with law enforcement officers. B, to communicate your intentions with other motorists. C, to talk on the CB radio. Or D, to talk on your mobile phone. So, if you're anybody like me or like a lot of people out there, A is definitely not it. You definitely don't want to talk to the popo, right? B, possibly communicate your intentions. C, talking on the CB radio. Not all tractor trailers have a CB radio. That's one of those walkie-talkie things. And D, you should already know if you're driving, you should not be talking on the phone. So that means the only correct answer here is going to be the letter B, to communicate your intentions with other motorists. So what does that mean? It means turn signals, making sure that you have eye contact, using your horn when necessary, flashers, all that stuff, right? So now to the next question. Which of the following about the effects of alcohol is true? Coffee will sober you up. That's letter A. Letter B. Only time will help the driver sober up. Letter C. If you eat first, you won't get drunk. And letter D. A shot of whiskey contains more alcohol than a glass of beer. All right, so depending on how old you are, depends on what kind of experiences you've had so far with alcohol, and depends on your experience level. A, coffee will sober you up. That's an old wives' tale. That is not correct. It might wire you up, but it ain't gonna sober you up. B, only time will help the driver sober up. That is 100% correct. That's just the way our bodies work. With time, things will get better. Now, if you are getting yourself a CDL license, drinking probably should not be something that you're going to do at all when you are driving, even one beer, because your actual blood alcohol level reduces, right? So if you're in a car, you can drive at a 0.08. In a tractor trailer with a CDL, it actually drops to a 0.04. And that's pretty much like half a beer. So definitely be careful. You don't want to be mixing that. But the correct answer for this question is going to be letter B. All right, now the next question is going to be, which of the following statements about mirrors are true? A is going to be, only one mirror is required on a truck. B, if adjusted properly, no blind spots exist. C, all trucks have blind spots, which the mirrors cannot cover. And D, when driving slow, and D, when driving down the road, you need to look your mirrors every 12 to 15 seconds. So the correct answer here is going to be C. Now, every single truck is going to have blind spots. If you look at this diagram right over here, it's going to tell you what the blind spots are. Directly in front of the hood is a blind spot. Directly behind the vehicle is a blind spot. And there's a few more blind spots on the side. It does not matter how many mirrors you have, you're always going to have blind spots, right? When it comes to the other stuff, it's going to be, so maybe you thought it was D. The correct answer would have been D if it said every 5 to 6 seconds. So every 5 to 6 seconds, your head should be looking at a separate mirror. If you've ever been to like a water park and you kind of see those lifeguards kind of bobbing their head and looking at everybody, that's exactly how you are as a tractor trailer driver, because you are a lifeguard for yourself and for everybody else on the road, because you're a professional. Everybody else is just an amateur. All right. How many more questions do you guys want? You guys want some more questions? If you guys like this stuff, make sure you comment below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and share it, because our mission is to help 1 million people get on the road to freedom. And we can only do that by getting our word out there. And hopefully you like the kind of way we're doing it, because we're actually giving the real knowledge and we're keeping you awake. We're not a robot here. We're actually having some real intellectual conversations. So let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this show rolling. So the next question, if you're looking ahead, the distance you should be looking at a highway speeds, you will be looking for how far? Letter A is going to be 1/4 mile. B is going to be 1/2 mile. C, 700 feet. Or D, 1 mile. The correct answer here is going to be 1/4 mile. So that's going to be A. If you're on the city, it's going to be at least 1 city block. All right, the next question. You are driving in heavy traffic. the speed limit is 45 miles an hour, but traffic is moving at 35 miles an hour. The safe speed you should be driving is either A, 45 miles an hour, B, 30 miles an hour, C, 40 miles an hour, or D, 35 miles an hour. Now this one might seem tricky, but it's actually pretty simple. It's D, 35 miles an hour. If everyone's going 35 miles an hour, you can't go faster than them, so you just go the same speed as everybody else. And as long as it does not exceed the speed limit, you're good to go. So that's why it's 35 miles an hour. Self-explanatory. When it comes to questions like this, don't get into your head, because I remember when I went for my test, there was one question I'll never forget that I got into my head, and at the end, it was the most simple question at the end of the day. Next question. If you are convicted for driving under the influence while driving a commercial vehicle, and this is your first offense, you most likely will get what? A probation period for 1 year. B, at least 1 year suspension of your CDL. C, a fine of $250. Or D, a slap on the wrist and a warning. Which one's it going to be? It's going to be B. You will lose your license for 1 full year. That means no working with your CDL license. That means your wife, your husband, your brothers, your family is going to be all upset at you, especially if you're the breadwinner here, simply because you made one silly mistake in drinking and driving. So don't do it, because your lifestyle is paid by that license. And if you lose your license, you lose your lifestyle for 1 whole year. And why do that? And it's not even that 1 year. It's going to be, how are you going to get hired after that fact? So one decision can change the whole trajectory of your entire life. Very simple. Don't drink and drive. That's why we have Uber. If you're going to drink, it's better to be late. It's better to be fired than get caught drinking and driving and getting caught and potentially killing somebody. That's even worse. Next question. If you are stopped at a roadside and are found with a blood alcohol concentrate of 0.02, what will happen? So remember what I told you before was that actual level is going to be 0.04. So say you're caught at 0.02, which means you have alcohol in your system, but you're not illegal because you didn't reach the limit. So the potential answers are going to be A, you're going to be placed out of service for 72 hours. B, be in deep trouble with your dispatcher. C, be placed out of service for 24 hours. Or D, both B and C. The correct answer here is going to be D. So your dispatcher is definitely going to be upset with you simply because you're going to be placed out of service for 24 hours. So if you had a load to deliver within that 24 hours, that load ain't going to get delivered simply because you're going to be out of service. One more time, your actions have affected your paycheck. And let's try to keep that to a minimum. And if anything, let's make sure your actions affect your paycheck in a positive direction. And for that being said, just make the right choices. You know what to do. Next question. Which of the following statements about speed management is true? A, if you double your speed, stopping distance will double. B, empty trucks and loaded trucks will have the same stopping distance. C, if you double your speed, your stopping distance will increase by 4 times. Or D, never follow closer to a vehicle than 100 feet. The correct answer here is going to be the letter C. Now, don't ask me the scientific behind it. I'm not a scientist, but the correct answer is going to be if you double your speed, that means that your stopping distance will quadruple. So for an example, say you double your speed from 25 miles an hour to 50 miles an hour. We're just going to use this as pure simple math and say it took you 100 feet to stop the vehicle when you're going 25 miles an hour. Once you go 50 miles an hour, it's going to take you 400 feet to stop that same vehicle based on this answer right here. So it's a pretty big difference. Next question. Which of the following is true about emergency driving? A, a truck can always be stopped quicker than it can be steered. B, a truck can turn faster than it can stop. C, hard braking is always the best emergency braking maneuver. Or D, a truck, because of air brakes, can stop quicker than a car. And the correct answer here is B. So it takes a tractor trailer about 300 feet on average to stop. 300 feet is the same size as a football field. Now that whole thing about air brakes are more powerful than cars, but trucks are a lot heavier, which means it takes a lot more time to actually stop that vehicle. So the correct answer here is going to be B. You can always turn faster than you can stop. So worst case scenario, say you're driving down the road. Option 1 is trying to slam on your brakes because you see an accident that just happened in front of you. Option 2 is turning the vehicle to the right and hitting a tree on the right side. The best thing to do is turn that vehicle because you ain't going to be able to stop in time, and when your 80,000 pound vehicle hits a couple cars in front of you, there could be a lot of loss on damage. But if you hit a tree, then the fortunate thing is only the truck, and you should be safe as long as you're wearing your seatbelt. So the truck can only turn faster than the actual stopping. And the last question for this video, I know we are getting closer to the end. I hope that you enjoyed yourself, but make sure you continue to watch our channel and click on the subscribe button, and make sure you hit the notifications when we pop up with the next part 2 version of this or many of the other videos that we have on our channel. Make sure you check them out. Let's get into this last question. The last question is going to be empty trucks. So letter A is going to be have better traction when stopped than loaded trucks. Letter B is going to be stop quicker when you're only using emergency brakes and parking brakes. Letter C, need less following distance than loaded trucks. Letter D, require longer stopping distance than loaded trucks. So if you don't know anything about trucks, this one's probably the most confusing one, because in your mind you're going to think, well, if the truck is empty, that means I can stop it quicker, right? Unfortunately, you are wrong. If the truck is empty, it actually takes longer for the vehicle to stop. Now, why is that? Simply because these trucks are built to carry weight, which means the brakes system, suspension system, and it's built to kind of put a lot of weight on top of it, which means everything works a lot better when it comes to weight, because that's simply what it was designed for. And if it was light, all it's going to do is the tires are going to skid across the road itself. So when the tires lock up, the trailer is going to kind of pop up, you're going to lose traction, and that's why it actually takes longer for you to stop. So that's the last question that we're going to go over today. I know that's not going to be all the questions that show up on the test itself, but I can't give you all the juice for free, and I hope that you actually learned a few things. If you kind of take our techniques here, now you understand whether they ask you these specific questions or any other questions in this general area, you will have now the information that you need to actually pass this test, and you'll be able to rock and roll. Now, if you are looking to pass a general knowledge test, make sure you understand you must pass with an 80% or higher. If you get below an 80%, you are not going to pass this test. So the best thing for you to do if you want to pass this is to come to the best truck driving school in the entire country. We offer online training programs, so if you're not local to one of our locations, that's perfectly okay. We can give you access to our online training programs where we have videos like this and in a lot more detail, where we break down the CDL manual in very easy to understand terms. We'll go through a bunch of questions and answers for you, and we'll make sure that you walk away with a true CDL knowledge. Because our mission is to help 1 million people get on the road to freedom. And how can you be free if all you're doing is memorizing questions and answers? We want to make sure that you are a true professional truck driver, and that's what we're here to help you out. So if you are interested in learning more about how our program works, just go to our website at cdldrivingacademy.com. You can find the location closest to you. Even if a location is not close to you, contact our main number at 908-525-3609, and we can set you up with an online training course to get you ready to get your actual CDL permit. Now, these questions are going to show up on any test, no matter what state that you live in the actual country itself. And I hope that you did enjoy and learn a few things. Please let us know which thing you did learn the most in the comments below, and what questions have you actually gotten on some of the tests, maybe that you failed already and you don't know why you failed. If you put those questions down there, I'll do the research, my team will review them, and maybe we'll put another video to answer all the questions that you guys might have that come up on the general knowledge that have stumped you in the past. Because we want to see that you pass, and also when you do pass, your questions are going to help out other people pass as well. So hopefully you subscribe to this channel. If you have any other questions about our school itself, go to our website at cdldrivingacademy.com. Again, cdldrivingacademy.com. Thanks, and have a fantastic day. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel. It's really going to help us out. Click on that button. And if you want to continue yourself on your road to freedom, here's more videos to watch. There's endless amounts. Hopefully we get to see each other one day very soon. Thanks.